In this video, I will discuss expression on model's face and texture. In this case, the tight curl that we see in model's hair. To begin with, we need to understand what muscles make those expressions. So, a little bit of anatomy. Here you see just a number of muscles that we're interested in. Orbicularis oculi is the muscle that closes and opens the lid of your eye. Orbicularis oris around your mouth. The zygomaticus is the number of muscles actually that make you smile. They stretch orbicularis oris, your lips also in different directions. And masseter. Okay, so now let's observe what is happening here. Gonna enlarge. So zygomaticus muscles move her mouth, move her orbicularis oris off the center. So on one side you see this is a masseter is contracted, and on the other side it's relaxed. Then the eye muscles. So orbicularis oris, because on one side, on her right side, masseter is contracted, it pushes her eye muscle up just a little bit, and the number of these muscles, variations in these muscles, that will create this wandering expression. So to construct the mouth, think about also it's a perspective, right? So it helps if you draw once again a shape and then fit lips inside of that shape. So here you can see that one corner of her mouth is going out and away from the viewer, and the other corner of her mouth is going towards the viewer. So the shape is distorted by perspective. Nose. So it's no longer right in the center. So it goes down, and then the mouth muscles pull the nose with it. So find the center of the lips and then connect the center of the nose to the center of the mouth. And then find the movement of how her cheeks behave. So one has a shorter curve than the other. Okay, so after you construct the face, and in my previous tutorials you can watch them and remind yourself about proportions and plumb lines and angles, all those tools that help you during the construction, drawing construction. Okay, so now let's move to hair. We talked a little bit in a previous video about silhouette and contour. There's a lot of detail in her hair, and we talked about generalizing. So we're gonna do it again. First of all, create a silhouette. So silhouette around when you constructing the portrait, you already have sort of a rough shape. So now is the time to bring more details out. Then start finding contour of each individual lock of hair. So, and that's when you really need to look and differentiate one lock of hair from the other lock of hair. And They sort of look like clouds. In fact, drawing tight curl like that is a lot like drawing clouds. So after you identified each lock of her hair, um, try to extract more detail out of it. Not at this point, don't leave it in general shapes. Find the curl, the wave. Some locks will have tighter wave than others. Alright, so after you have all that down, uh, assuming that you're working on toned paper and you want to bring out highlights in her hair. If you're not working on toned paper, just white paper, so just leave those spaces that I'm about to talk about just white. Let me just find it here. Alright, so now it's time to analyze each, and you'll see on the left in the drawing, I'm about to start doing that. Almost done with the face and working on the hair. Okay, so now it's time to think about each individual lock of her hair. And in her case, locks are they're almost like they form flat shapes altogether because the curl is so tight. But nevertheless, the light bounces off of the curls, and that's how we know. That's how we know about the texture. So highlights. Find highlights with chalk, white chalk, and follow the direction of the curl. Sometimes those might be just lines. Sometimes it's a curl, the wave that you see. All those details now are very important. So you're still sort of generalizing, but it's important to follow the essence in a way of the material that you're working with. After you established highlights, now you will take a really soft pencil if you're working with graphite. So that would be softer than B2, let's say B2, B3, something like that. And once again, thinking about the nature of her hair is very, very tight curl. You would create in a circular motion. So just fill in the space, all spaces around the highlights. Don't mix the graphite with the chalk because it'll just create really muddy look. So going in a circular motion is the key, very important. Even though it might look a little funny at first, you don't have to pay attention how precisely your circular motion goes with her hair. Okay, so once you fill all those spaces that you see here, what you're gonna do is you will take a stump tool or a brush, like a not a very soft brush, but stiff, and then you blend in a circular motion once again. All the time now, you go in a circular motion. You will blend the graphite so it's softer. So you blend, don't go outside of the contour line too much, but just a little bit. Now in the video you see me using a stump tool and I'm blending. Remember to do it in a circular motion. Very, very important. After you blend it, and you see on the drawing those dark spaces, they become a little softer. So after you've done that throughout, I mean, whatever here I'm showing you in purple is not complete, then you go back with the graphite let me just enlarge it and bring out detail. And to do that, follow the direction of the wave. So first of all, pay attention where it's darker, and this time you can use the softest pencil that you can find, like B6, B9, B8, something like that. And once again, in a circular motion, only go in those places that are the darkest. So that's the time to think about each individual curl as well, as if it's a form and you only go in where the shadow of that form would be. This you will not blend anymore, so pay closer attention how you create in the circles. And then if the contrast is too sharp between the highlight and the shadow, then if blending didn't solve that, then just go in the direction of the wave, like that, and smooth it out, right? And then go in a different direction like this when you're working on the inside of the wave. So this process, that's what takes the longest, to work at this final stage to make it look as smooth as possible. So there's no high contrast between highlights and shadows, and you don't do that throughout her whole hair. You only choose areas where there's a shadow and areas where you think areas that you think might benefit from smoothing out between tones, so it's not as contrasting. And that's the trick to tight curl hair. You can use the blending stick or the brush if you must, after you bring in the detail. But just keep in mind that you already established the general tone, and it's also important to leave some lines of her hair that contributes to the texture also, not just the light and shadow, but the direction of the shading that you choose also important. So try to think about how individual hairs would go, uh, how they would flow in the wave of her hair, and follow that direction. the good thing is that you don't have to do it throughout whole head, right? So you only do it in some places that you choose.